Hi everybody, welcome to our devotional today. Over the course of the last few weeks we've been looking at the word stand. We've spoken about what it means to stand up. We've spoken about what it means to stand still. In church on Sundays morning we're talking about what it means to stand in the gap. But in our devotional series so far we've been talking about what it means to stand before. Stand before. The first aspect of standing before was we had to understand what it meant to stand before ourselves, because we have to be able to look at ourselves and be happy with not necessarily what we see, because that can always be improved, but to be happy with what we see in who we are. And we spoke about standing before ourselves by way of having a clear conscience and by having a godly self-esteem, understanding that we need to see ourselves the way that God sees us. Well, today I want to take a step further and talking about what it means to stand before men, standing before people. The world is watching us, guys. The world watches us. They see the good that we do. They see the bad that we do. And they draw a conclusion about what Christ must be like according to what they see in us. So we, in a very real sense, represent Jesus to the world around us. And so the things that we do, the things we say, and the things that we are vitally important in being able to reflect who Jesus is to the world around us. We stand before the world. Now there's another aspect that I'll touch on in a moment, but in Matthew chapter 5 we read about where Jesus talks about being the light of the world, and he says, "You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." Let your light so shine before men. Your life is what people are watching. Before you say a word, people are watching the things that you do and the things that you say. Sadly, I'll be honest with you, and I am often disappointed at what I hear happening in things that come back to me. And we live in a small town. And I hear things about what people have done and the way that people have behaved in various scenarios. And sometimes I just have to grit my teeth and be sad in my heart, because the reflection that some people have of what a Christian is probably not that great. And so very often the world around us almost unfairly judges a Christian by the things that they don't do. And I do think there are things that we as Christians should not do. We should not mess around. We should not lie. We should not steal. We should not do all those things. But that's not the only thing that we stand before men to do or not to do. In this passage we read just now in Matthew 5, it says we need to let our light shine before men that they may see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven. You see, our testimony is not so much just about what we don't do. It's also about what we do. And Jesus suggests that your good works should be those that stand before men to glorify God in heaven. There's also a verse in Matthew 10, verse 33, that's a little bit scary. It says this is Jesus speaking. "If you deny me before," there's our key word, stand before men, "I will deny you before my Father." You see, guys, according to the parable that Jesus told, and we speak, I don't know why, but we speak so often about this particular parable, where Jesus spoke about the king who went away and he had his 3 stewards. He gave to them portions of money and he said, "I will come back and you will have to stand before me to give account of what you have done with that which I have given you." And so before we stand before God, which is something that we will talk about next week, we have to stand before men, and our testimony is vitally important to the connection that people make between what Jesus would look like and by who we are. It's an unfair thing because we're not Jesus. Jesus was at an advantage because he was Jesus, and he still is. But we reflect Christ to the world around us. So I encourage you this week to remember that people are watching you, and that as you stand before men, that they may not just see the things that you don't do, but that they may see the things that you do, the good works that you do to glorify God. That's the key, not to glorify you, not to glorify the church, but to glorify God in heaven. So just in this short devotion today, I would implore you, I'd encourage you to be careful what you say, especially in public. Non-Christians, Christians are watching you, and you are a reflection of Jesus in the eyes of the world around us. So have a great day, guys. Go out there and reflect Jesus well. May he be proud of you. And at the end of the day, may this be a good day and a good week as you reflect the light of Christ to the world around you. Guys, God bless you at this particular time. I know in the coronavirus rollout that there are many that are really frustrated. There are some that are even angry with the things that are going on around. But I ask you just to reflect on what we've spoken about today, and even in light and in the context of the way the country's going, the things that we're facing, the challenges that are around us, be aware that there are people that are watching you, and your life and your voice speak volumes to them. So go out there, people. Be happy, be uplifting, be the hope and the encouragement to the world. Do not be a carrier of bad news and feeding people's fear around you. Let's speak positively. Let's speak with a sense of hope. And even in the world that is around us, things are probably, well, we do know as we read the scriptures that things are probably going to get worse at some stage before Jesus comes. That's okay. We know it's going to happen, but let's be very intentional this week and in the weeks to come about reflecting accurately the nature of Christ around us. So be encouraged, guys. Encourage people around you. Speak positively. And I know that you're going to be a great blessing to the people in this world around you. Have a great week.